Folks, I sit before you today thoroughly convinced that Bernie Sanders is the human equivalent of Scar from The Lion King. If you look at the domestic and foreign policy of both of these tyrants, it's almost line for line identical. So we're going to look at 5 ways that they are similar. First, look at their immigration policy. Scar was more concerned about the fate of the hyenas, which were beyond the borders of Pride Rock. And when he took over Pride Rock, he welcomed those illegals into Pride Rock. Just like Bernie Sanders wants to give out all of these entitlement programs at taxpayer expense to illegal immigrants, showing that he cares more about those who do not belong in our country than those who were actually born here and pay taxes here. You look at their domestic policies, they're also pretty much identical. Scar said, "Stick with me and you'll never go hungry again." Well, isn't that essentially what Bernie Sanders believes in by basically bankrupting the government to pay for free college, free Medicare for all, and all the other free stuff that he's offering? Scar came to power by offering people free stuff, and that's exactly what Bernie Sanders is trying to do. You look at how they both want to change the structure of the government. Bernie Sanders is on record of advocating for socialism, which is basically hidden communism, and he wants to reform the American political landscape in support of socialism, but he believes that that must happen gradually. Well, Scar kind of differs from him on this because what Scar wanted, he just took it. He literally overthrew the government by throwing Mufasa off of a cliff. So, in a way, they're kind of different on that one, but still very similar in the sense that they both wanted to abolish the current form of government in favor of one that suits their own political ideals and ego. But here's the thing. Socialism sounds cute, but it never actually works. It doesn't distribute wealth. All it does is distribute poverty. If you look at Bernie Sanders, he actually praised the bread lines in communist countries as a good thing, but he doesn't realize that that's actually starvation being spread around, not prosperity. When Scar took over Pride Rock, it was pretty much the same thing. Nobody had any food. Of course, Scar was still eating well. The hyenas still had some food, but by and large, all the lions pretty much starved, and that's what would happen if this train wreck of a candidate were to become the president. You would basically see a distribution of poverty, not of wealth, just like what happened to Pride Rock. And then finally, number 5, the 5th similarity between these two candidates is their followers. The core of the Bernie Sanders base is identical to the hyenas from The Lion King. If you remember, the hyenas from The Lion King said, no king, la 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 la. Well, basically, they were anarchists at heart. They didn't want any rule. They wanted basically chaos and to sow discord in the country. That's exactly what the followers of Bernie Sanders are. The Bernie Sanders bros are anarchists at heart. But the reason why I call them parasites is because if you look at the core of Bernie Sanders' base, it's college students, people who have yet to work a full-time job and contribute to the American economy in any meaningful way, yet somehow think because they read a couple of articles written by some commie in their college class, they believe that they're qualified to rewrite the American economic landscape into one which spreads poverty around. These people think they know something, but they don't. And to be honest with you, I'll admit this about myself. I used to be fiscally liberal until I got my first full-time job and realized what the government was taking out of my paycheck in taxes. And then I ran to the right of the political spectrum at a screaming pace. So once those Bernie bros actually get their first job and realize they don't want to be taxed, hopefully there will be some hope for some of them. But for Bernie Sanders, I don't think there's a chance that he's going to change his ways. You could almost picture him saying, "I'll be king undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am." Anyway, that's my quick rant on Bernie Sanders. Have a great day, everybody.